Hi, I'm Lauren Avila, and today I have a very special guest. So I am talking to her about what inspires her because that's exactly what it is that I am looking for, of talking to people and understanding why they do what they do and what inspires them. So my guest today is Kathryn May Shields. Kathryn has a master's degree for nursing. She was a technical consultant on medical videos, which was recognized with an Academy of Medical Films Award for creative excellence in educational media. She has contributed textbook work to Mosby Publishing Company. She's also a musician of several instruments. And her new book is called On the Point of a Star. Welcome, Kathryn. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Lauren. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so glad. Okay, so first I want to talk about you. Can you tell me about your writing journey? When and how did you come to write?
Sure. I started writing as a child, as most of us have. And as a child, I remember writing plays, and we would put the plays on. I remember writing all sorts of short stories, and I started my first novel at age 12. And I still have the unfinished novel someplace buried in the attic. After that, when I wrote through high school, I wrote on the school newspaper, and I did some writing in college. But when I got to college, my priorities had to be other things. And so I didn't quite write as much. Then when I got into my working as a nurse, of course, everything was involved in nursing, but I did start to write. And when I got my master's degree, I wrote quite a bit about nursing, and specifically for my thesis, it was getting men into nursing, attracting men into the nursing profession. I also did a video on attracting men into nursing, and Mosby Publishing Company saw it, and they invited me to be their technical advisor. And basically what that was I was on the set. They had sets set up in hospitals, and we did videos on how to do different nursing procedures with patients. And I also wrote several of their textbooks. So from then on, I did a lot of writing, mostly medical. And when I retired from nursing, which has been 3 years now, I started to write my novel. And On the Point of a Star is my first novel. And that's kind of been my journey.
Yeah, that's great. And it's a really good starting point. I mean, I read it and it was great. I loved it a lot. Okay, so actually I want to talk about it. So what is On the Point of a Star about?
Okay. On the Point of a Star is about two 14-year-old girls. The age group for the book is 9. I put it 9 to 14, but let me tell you, anybody can enjoy it. Yes. I've had a lot of adults read it, and they enjoy it too. It's about two 14-year-old girls who come together to form a duo and decide that they want to play at the Grand Ole Opry. But while they are trying to perfect their skills to play at the Grand Ole Opry, they have to overcome a whole lot of problems. Family crisis, peer bullying, and jealousy. Those are the most themes. And so the book basically maps out their journey in coming together and attempting to get good enough to play at the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah, and I was curious because as I was reading it, a lot of things stuck out as being very realistic to a person and their actual life. So I was curious as to what inspired the story idea. And then furthermore, what kept you inspired during your writing journey? Because it could be kind of long and to keep the attention to actually write a whole story.
Okay. Actually, what motivated me to write the story was at that particular time, I was playing country music. I play the violin, classical style, and I had to learn to play fiddle. to be able to do the different techniques that it takes to play country.
Okay.
And in learning that, I thought it would be fun to take two young girls and put them on a journey of learning how to play the Appalachian music, which is what country started from. And in 1985, which is the period that the book takes place in, country music still did come from a lot of Appalachian music influence. Today, it's more of a pop rock influence. But back in 1985, it was very country Appalachian. And that's what inspired me to do the book. What kept me going was that the book actually flowed through me just like a movie. I could see it all right in front of me as I was sitting at the computer, typing it up. It flowed like a movie, and I was so excited about it. I just did it and did it. But let me tell you, after I finished the book, I thought I wrote, the all-American novel, but it went through, I would say, maybe 10 revisions over the years. Yeah. And right before I published it, which was this year, in December of last year and January at the beginning of this year, I was still revising it until I totally tightened it up to put it into published form.
Wow. That's amazing. So I'm curious, actually, of the during the process of writing it, and you said you saw it like a movie, but I was just wondering if you ever experienced any kind of writer's block, and if you did, like what helped you through that?
With that particular book, I did not experience writer's block.
Great.
I did. It just flowed out of me. But the thing of it is that I thought it was great when I finished it, but when I had it edited, oh boy. And then over the years, and I have been working on this novel for several years, over the years, edit it. And so what the finished version that I have now is not what I started up with. If you read the manuscript from the very first time that I ran it off the printer as to what it is in its published version, it has been tightened and edited and really the beauty of it brought out. Yeah. And so that took time. It didn't happen overnight. It didn't come from my computer to the printed form. No, it took years.
Yeah. So when you were writing, you must have included, obviously you said you were editing a lot, you had to take a lot out. You must have had a wealth of information and thoughts and ideas that you had put on there that you needed to eventually edit out. Because there was so much going on, visually for me that I could, it was tangible, like the things, the music and just the setting. So I was curious because with these elements that you include, like such as like the instruments and different styles of music, even kind of the slang of like Tennessee for Alexa May. I'm curious, like, were you familiar with these elements or did you have to do a lot of research for it?
I went to Tennessee. And I spent several weeks in Tennessee, and I spent several weeks at the Grand Ole Opry. I went to Ryman Theater, which is the old Grand Ole Opry, and now they have the new Grand Ole Opry. And my goodness, that place is gorgeous. And I went all around in Tennessee and Townsend, Tennessee. I went to all the different places in there and really researched what it was like. I went to Music Row and went in and talked with the people who actually find their talent. And I talked with them and asked them a great deal about, do you take young people? And they do. Do you take young people in the Grand Ole Opry? What do you want from these people? What kind of styles? And they told me a great deal of information. With regard to the technical playing of the fiddle, I do not play a banjo, but I have plenty of friends that do. But the technical aspect of playing the fiddle, I was learning myself. So I put that process in Milana, going from a classical violinist
Yeah.
into playing country music fiddle.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I did research a good deal of it, but all of it, also a good deal of it I had inside of me.
Yeah.
I have made videos and done filmmaking. I did the music, so all of that came naturally. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. So going more, I know you were talking a little bit about the themes earlier. I just think that there are some great themes going on in the book that are even applicable to different age groups. I
Mhm.
know I found
Yeah.
myself recognizing traits of myself in there, things that we experience and how we deal with them. But they're great for general audience, but I do think it's really also great for the young audience. And anyone such as myself with a dream, particularly with the kind of journey that Milana goes on. So I was hoping, what is it that you hope readers will take from this book?
Just exactly what you said. I have had young readers read it and really enjoy it because I want to encourage young people. As I say, the book is basically for ages 9 and up. I want to encourage young people to look into music, to play different styles of music, to actually go on to YouTube and see what Appalachian music sounds like. Listen to the old Appalachian music and then see how it has progressed right through country music.
Yeah.
And I want to young people to dream big and to follow their dreams. And then the adults that read it, they love it too. And you can follow your dream at any age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're following your dream.
Yes.
I'm following mine still. And
Yeah.
it hasn't changed since when I was your age. There's still a dream and I'm still following it. So the book is to find a dream, find your passion, and do it. And
Yeah.
don't let anybody stop you.
Yeah. Well, that's actually one of my favorite parts is pertaining to the title, because that's what Luke says about that when chasing your dreams, you don't be afraid of when you prick your finger on the point of a star.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
love that because sometimes life is hard and it's going to get discouraging, but if you're going to chase something, you're going to have
Yeah,
to go through the ups and the downs, but that's okay. And I
that is
love that.
absolute. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love that too, that saying too. And I have to tell you where I got it
Oh yeah, go ahead.
because this is a wonderful story. I was in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, which is where Dollywood is located.
Oh, okay.
Dolly Parton's big theme park, and that place is incredible.
Yeah.
I loved Dollywood. Well, anyway, I went to one of the exhibits, and it happened to be the Minnie Pearl exhibit. Do you know who Minnie Pearl was? I don't know whether you do.
No.
Way back in the 80s, there was a program on TV called Hee Haw.
Oh.
And you may want to Google Hee Haw and see some of the YouTube videos. But there was a lady on it named Minnie Pearl. And she always wore this cute little hat with the price tag hanging down from her hat.
Great.
Anyway, she was a comedian and a riot of a singer. But I went into her exhibit, and on the wall was a letter that somebody sent her.
Hmm.
And the letter, it caught my eye immediately. It said, Minnie, never let anyone discourage you. It says, you will, in reaching your fame, you will always prick your fingers on the point of a star.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where I got it. And I looked at that and I go, wow, that's true.
Yeah.
No matter what you do in life, if you're reaching for a dream, you will prick your finger on the point of a star. Bad
Mhm.
things will happen.
Yeah.
So that's where that came about.
Yeah, and it's definitely applicable to the story throughout because the girls are struggling with things. They have their own personal things. They're going through things together. I think it's just such a great title because this is in the pursuit of their dreams that they go through these things. And I love it. I love how that ties into the title. So actually, I do have a question. What while I was reading it, we get to know these characters, and then, you know, spoiler alert, like it's kind of got a little bit of an open ending, I suppose. So I was just curious if you're open to maybe doing like a sequel or a series of books for these same characters and see where they go in life. They're so
I,
young, you know?
I have thought of that. I have thought of that. And, I'm writing another book right now, which is again for the same age group, and it has nothing to do with these two characters.
Oh, okay.
Its name, by the way, is Magic of a Blue Spider, but I won't go into that one. Anyhow, I have thought of doing a sequel, and I'm not certain I can do it. And by that, I mean, I was so caught up into everything as I wrote that book.
Yeah.
And over the years, I have developed that book with such love.
Yeah.
And I look at country music now, and I do love many aspects of it, but it's not like it used to be.
Okay.
And call me old school, I guess. But I enjoyed country music back in the 70s and 80s. I really enjoyed it back then. Okay. So would I go back and do it? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think I will just leave it, and I will let the reader imagine what happens.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing because I have my own idea because, the characters are young. And so in my head, I imagine they've grown up because this was in 1985. So in theory, they are grown up, like just, and I'm sure they're living fantastic lives. And besides, I feel like, you did such a great job with the book. I feel like it's got closure to it, so I guess I get it. But you never know, maybe down the line, right?
Maybe down the line, maybe I can come back to, and you just gave me an idea. Why don't they be growing up and look and have children and whatever, and look back on it and what they did from 1985?
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that.
You never know, right?
You never know. Hey, that's an idea.
Pretty cool.
Pretty
And
cool.
I'm already intrigued with the title of your next book. I mean, the title sounds so interesting. Like I remember that the title of this book kind of, caught my interest. So the title of your next one,
Magic of a Blue Spider.
Yeah.
That takes place in early California, 1850, in the gold rush.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I don't know, here we're getting into another subject, but this is creativity.
Yeah.
I don't know what you had studied about the gold rush, but there were many women who really did want to become a part of the gold rush, but they couldn't. Women weren't supposed to do things like that. A lot of restrictions on women.
Yeah.
And so the women who did take part in the gold rush very frequently did not let anybody know they were women. They dressed in the men's clothing. Yeah. They went out and they did everything just like the men did. They associated with the men, and and then they did or did not find gold.
Yeah.
but what I'm adding to that aspect is the fact that there's magic of a blue spider, and there is a Witch of Auburn Diggins. And so I've got a little intrigue there for the kids to really enjoy. Yeah. That's what I'm trying for anyway.
Yeah. You know what? You bring up magic, and that kind of reminds me that so we actually met when I went to the Great Valley Book Fest, and I attended one of the writers panels. And I specifically remember there were 4 people, and everyone had wonderful things to say about where they get their inspiration. But I specifically remember you saying that you really get inspired by the wonder in the world and in life. And I was just wondering, because you were talking about magic just now, you could talk about how wonder really reflects in your writing.
Oh, that's beautiful, because if you notice that my book is published under Wonder All Around. And Wonder All Around is my brand. I find that there is so much going on in this world today that is so, oh my goodness, horrendous and so depressing and so bringing all of us down. And I worry about children because I've had a lot to do with children throughout my life. And I still see the kids very frequently. I still am involved with them. And I worry about their own looking at life and their own depression and how they feel about what's going on, which they don't really understand.
Yeah.
So what I have tried to do in my brand is point out the wonder all around. Look for the beauty. Yeah, we see the stuff that's going on that's depressing. We see that easily. But now we've got to look at the wonder. I mean, I look out at on my window right here, and I'm seeing the trees, and the squirrels are running up and down the trees. I live in rural California, and the squirrels are running up and down. I can look outside, and I can see the deer drinking out of my bird bath. You know, I have the wonder around me. I see mushrooms, and they're wonderful.
Yeah.
So I try to find the wonder and the magic in the world. And what I like to write for young people is like back in the gold rush time. Yes, there is all this stuff going on that women can't do, but the women find a way around it.
Yes.
And then they find their own wonder and their own magic. And so that's what's going on in my next book.
Wow, I love it. And I love that it goes back to you find a way to make your dreams happen, or
Yes.
your wishes, your wants, everything. I love that.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm sorry, Lauren, to cut in, but the journey is a wonder.
Yes.
The journey is all part of the wonder.
Yeah.
All of our life's journey is a wonder.
Yeah.
So it kind of all fits together for me.
Yeah. So finally, I wonder if you have any, besides the wonder, if there's any further advice you might have for aspiring writers such as myself, or just also, I guess in this case, it would be dreamers, but people who dream of writing. You have written, you've been there in that journey. Do you have any advice?
Basically, my advice is for anybody who's trying to reach for any dream, be it writing, be it working in theater, be it getting a degree, being whatever their dream is to keep going, to not let anybody discourage you. I know that in my personal life, I have had several people attempt discourage me. You can't do that. You'll never be able to do that. And at first I did let things like that discourage me, but that's pricking your finger on the point of a star. Your finger is pricked on the point of a star. Somebody discourages you. Don't let it happen. My advice to anybody with a dream is do it. Simple as that.
I love it. I love it. Well, like I said, I did read it, and I recommend it to anyone to read it. I just found myself identifying even with these young girls and the things that they were doing, and I thought that there were parts that I could just feel everything that was going on.
Wow, good.
So no matter what age, I would read it, and it also just reminded me in a good way of the mood of younger books. Like they don't, like other adult books, they kind of they can bring you down a little bit.
Yes.
Whereas this one, I just felt like it was just, I don't know, it was light. I liked it a lot. So I would recommend it to everyone to get, no matter what age you are.
Thank you.
Kathryn, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that is exactly what I was hoping, to lighten up. Because a lot of children's books today are dystopia. They are all these fighting and all these killings, and even I've seen in some bad languages in some books. So this book is none of it. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I really enjoyed getting to know you and talking about your book. So I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Thank you, Lauren, for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you.